Hello there and welcome back to Build with the Boys. We now have pack 8 of Agora's Build the Routemaster. I love this thing, I really do. And Routemaster always makes me smile. When all the frustration of the other models that we've got going on at the moment, particularly Agora, this is just a joy. I really enjoy Routemaster. In this pack, we are heavy on the electrics. So hopefully by the end of this one, we will have working lights and bell. We're installing more of the electrics and wiring it up to the board that we put in for the roof lights downstairs, but then we're also doing the top deck lights as well. The light panels at the back, we're wiring up the lighting from the cab. We're also completing the frame of the upper deck, and we are adding side panels to the upper deck. We're also making the roof of the cab, and we're making the destination board that goes on the front. It's very cool, that. A lot to do, but again, these packs that come from Agora are just huge, so there's always lots to do. But again, the first half of this is mainly electrics, and then this thing is flying up, and there's only 4 left after this. I mean, this is how quick this one's been, and I do love the Agora method as opposed to the other ones which take 2-3 years. Agora, 12 months, you're done. So it's kind of a brief flirtation with one. And it's nice to have a project through the year. I am going to be doing another one from Agora. I haven't decided which one yet, but I've enjoyed doing this so much, and Agora's service has been fantastic. It really has. I'll definitely be doing more. But anyway, we're going to crack on with this one, and we'll go through it stage by stage and see what it looks like at the end. So here's everything that comes inside part 1 of pack 8. Now these are actually LED panels, so these will light up. This one here and this one here will go on the back of the bus. And we have a lot of wiring extenders and a lot to match up and line up. I've laid the bus down on its side for this because we're going to be using the battery box over here, which doesn't attach yet. So I'm going to secure this onto here with some masking tape just to hold it in place, because I think by the end of this we're going to have quite a mess of wires. So I'm going to crack on, get these all plugged in, and we'll take a look. Okay, so I've wired these up, and if this has worked correctly, if I press the switch, these panels should come on a single LED. If I've done it wrong, you're going to see the same time as I see it. There we go. Okay. So I don't know how well that's shown on camera for you, but I can see that glowing very well here. It kicks off quite a lot of light as well. I'm quite impressed with that. I'm more relieved the fact that it works. So let's get the rest wired up. Okay, now the next thing it's asked us to do is to bring up the cabin roof. We've wired it up. If we pull this, it should sound the bell. Fingers crossed. And it does. I'm not really a fan of that bell sound, to be honest with you. It sounds a little bit too electronic for me, but it's it works. So I'm happy. I'm always nervous testing electrics, though, in case they're not going to work. But so far, so good. Okay, so we've set this up now. Now we've got to check 2 buttons inside the cab. Now this one should. There we go. So we've got our lights, we've got internal lights, that's all I really want. And then the other ones do the horn. Again, not bothered by the horn, I'm never going to use it, but let's have a see if it works. Wonderful. Oh, it's a bit temperamental. Perfect, that's working. I'm happy. I can give you a view from the front as well. Our lights also work at the front. Happy, happy man. Just installed our next LED that comes with this switch. It's a single LED, it's just here. And again, if you'll see when I see if it doesn't work. It does, sweet. I have no idea what that's for, but that's a single LED. Don't know what it's for, but I'm sure we'll find out. Okay, so we installed our final cable, which is cable J1. If, like me, you go looking for a plug, there's no plug. It's already hanging out. Now this is the engine sounds, and the one thing I will say, I've never liked engine sounds on models, right? I just think they're a little bit hokey, so I'll never use it, but I mean, it's nice to have it. So I don't know what this one sounds like. If this is, I don't know, let's find out. If it works, fingers crossed. Okay, so it works. I wouldn't call that engine sound. I mean, it's like clearly the sound of an engine. That's the sound of the vehicle driving. Typically with engine sounds, it's somebody starting the vehicle up. That sounds like it's already going. It's just called sort of a snippet, because you can hear some street noise there as well. Typically, engine sounds in a model, it's the sound of the engine started and sort of running. But it's nice, it's cute enough, and again, the kids will get a kick out of it, but it's not something I'll use. The only thing I really use on these vehicles is the lights. It's like even the Titanic that I'm building, it does all these wonderful things, but with the exception of seeing the engine moving and the lights, I won't use any of the bells and whistles, I really won't. But it's a cute thing that it does, and I'm thankful that all of our electrics work, which means, you know, because we took our time, read through the instructions and wired it up right, we're looking good. That's it for part one. Now we're going to move on to part two, and part two is going to be doing the upper deck lights. So here's everything that comes in stage 2 of pack 8. Just a bunch of wires, and we recognise these from the roof we did in this one. Same wires, it's the same LED strips. We're going to wire these up, I believe, and see if they work. Okay, I've just wired up the top deck lights. Let's see if these work. Then you press the same button as the lower deck lights. Perfect. Happy with that? All working, all good. Happy? Excellent. That switch is temperamental. I'm not going to unravel these. I've got a feeling we're going to unplug them. The next thing we've done is you have the brake lights. Now again, if I turn the main cab lights on, these should, there we go. Now apparently if I press down on the brake pedal, they will get brighter. You can see it's not showing up on camera. I can definitely see it. You can see in the reflection of the wheel, it gets brighter. You see? You see the reflection there, it gets brighter as I push down. It's not showing up on camera, but I can certainly see it with my eyes. Happy with that? Okay, so we fitted our final wire of this pack, which I can't see now. There it is. Now these should be indicators. Again, fingers crossed this works. Yep. We got disco lights. Excellent. Excellent. So all the electrics work. I am a happy bunny. Let's move on to pack 3. So this is what's come inside stage 3, stage 4? 3 of the Routemaster pack 8. I'm so glad as well, because I'm so happy to have this, because as great as it is with that top deck, it just feels flimsy without this other piece supporting it, so I'm happy to get this in. So, I mean, there's not a lot to report here. We're going to screw this to the underside of the bus and then we'll take a look at it. And there we have it. So we now have this section fully metal framed up and some much needed support. Very happy with that. Because as I said, with only half of it in, this felt flimsy and I wasn't loving that. So it's nice that, there we go. It's nice that it's fully supported now. Gives me a bit more confidence. I was terrified of moving this thing, it was going to snap. But that's done, so on to stage 4. Okay, so moving on, here's everything that comes in pack 4 of pack 8. We're going to be adding some of these handles to this part here, and this will be the stairs. Go from the lower deck to the upper deck, and then this is the very front of the top deck. So a lot of this is just push to fit, and there's a couple of screws to go in. I don't think anything too complicated, but let's take a look at it. So there we are with this part complete. Now there is a bulb holder there that just rests in, so I've put just a touch of electrical tape on and just hold it in place. We put this in. Now the one thing I will advise is this was quite snug, so I have just used a tiniest of drop of 3-in-1 oil just to ease those into place, because I was aware of putting pressure on them and snapping the plastic, but it's looking good, right? It's looking really nice. Okay, so that part done, we're going to move on to this section. And what we're going to do in here is we're going to be installing this rail and then this window, and that part's pretty much complete. Okay, so here we have this section of the bus complete. Now this is the internal upper deck wall. So the external obviously will have a lot more going on with it. But all we did was we popped this frame in using some IP screws. Easy enough, and then we attach the window section to the lower section using 4 of the AP screws. Really easy, really simple, and that is this section complete. Now you can fit this to the upper deck at this stage, but it doesn't secure in, and ultimately you're going to be taking it back off. So I'm not going to do that for now. I'm going to leave it as it is. Now the next part coming up is the destination board, and this one looks quite involved. So let's get into it. So here's everything we get with pack 5 of pack 8. We've got the 2 rollers there. We've got this very, very long destination board. There are so many destinations that is untrue. This section here, we have our screws, but we've also got, quite interestingly, we've got the gears for this, which appear to already been greased. There's grease in the bag, so that's good. So I'll make sure those get a proper coating before applying them. So let's get this started. Okay, so we've installed our 4 very greasy gears here. And what's going to hold the destination board now. This where it gets a little complicated. So this black line here, we're going to remove the strip of 3M tape from the back of this board, and it is going to stick along the edge of this. We're going to make this nice and straight, and then we're going to start to roll this using the screwdriver to turn the gear to keep it nice and tight. There is our destination board complete. It's all working rather lovely. I'm going to keep it at Victoria because that's such my wife's name. So Victoria's going to be the destination, and I'm going to attach it to the front here using some LM screws. Okay, so here's everything we get in this stage. Now, there's a lot. This is going to be the roof of the driver's cab, so we're going to be building it upside down, and ultimately it's going to be fitting to the upper deck. And there is a lot of little bits to put into this, so I'm going to crack on and we'll take a look at it. This is what we've done. We've added all these elements here and here. We've got the indicator switch. We've got this, which is ultimately going to turn the display board. I thought there was more because there's a lot of parts with it that we don't fit yet. So, I mean, this is all very easy. All of this is just fitted in through the back with DP screws and MP screws. Nothing difficult about this at all. It looks nice. I mean, it looks really nice. You can see this. I don't know if I can get that on. That doesn't just say stop. It's a lovely thing. But for the roof of a cab, all the widgets and whatnot are going to be in there. It's looking nice, really nice. So let's move on to the next part. Here's everything we get in stage 77, which is part 7 of this pack 8. We've had to unplug some wires, so 4 wires have to be unplugged because we're going to be adding this, I believe, to the top deck, adding the driver's cab part that we made into here. I'm wiring up some of the buttons that are going to go in the ceiling, so let's get into this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is going to take this section that we made in the last part. There is a hole just in between here. We're going to take lead H and the bulb is going to slot in here. Now what you're going to need to do is a pin's going to have to go in between these insulations, so make sure you're kind of facing out this way as you go in. So that should, there we go, fit down nice and snug in between there, and then that will be coming out just here. So that'll be the driver's cab light. Then again, taking apart from the last issue, we're going to slot it in between these 2 insulated pins here, and this should hold this in place. There we go. Nothing complicated about that. That's done. That's nice and snug. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take another wire. We're going to use this clip and we're going to hold that in place. So let's get that tooled up. So this is from the other side, and just using the test board I can see our cab light lights up lovely. Okay. So the next thing we've done quite simply is we took the switch at the end of the lead that goes into here. We're going to fold over the top like so, and then this is going to fit into place over these 2 sockets here, and we're going to fit the switch into there, and that will work as a push button inside the cab. We're going to hold that in place with 2 EM screws falling apart there, and then we'll take a look. Okay, so we've done the same again that we did with the other wire with these 2 wires here. So these will be our indicators and our starter. You can see the pins now come through there. That's where they're going to go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach this to the roof section, well, the floor section of the upper deck. Okay, so we've attached this to the upper deck. If I can show you, there we go. We zoom out, take a look at it there. So there it is. That's where it sits. Now what we're going to do is I've already put in screws just here. There's 2 at the top. I've got 4 in total, so 1 there, 1 there, 1 here, and I'm going to put the final one in, and then this will be secure in place. So let's get this one put in. Just in here. Now, there is a channel that runs along the roof with gaps, so it will be a case of tidying up these wires next. So that one's in. So what we're going to do is there are notches. I can show you the notches here. Okay, so there are notches, as you can see them here. We're going to run this wire through the channels, through the notches, then we're going to hold it in place with just some electrical tape. They do provide tape. I don't think that tape's great, so I'm using my own electrical tape to do it, but I'll tidy that up and we'll take a look. And then we have this one installed. Simple enough. I mean, again, it's 4 FM screws. It goes straight in. It's the opposite panel to that. And that is stage 77 complete. Let's move on to 78. So here is 78. Now, 79 is identical. It's just the mirror of this. So I'm just going to do the one. I'm going to do this one, and then we'll skip the assembly stage in 79, and we'll attach them to the upper deck. These are the walls for the upper deck. Okay, so starting with this panel. We've had to install these parts here. Now they do have a lug at the bottom, so they can only go in one way. Now these do hold quite firm in place, but what we're going to do is from behind, we are going to secure them with DP screws in here and here. There's a lot of these to do, so I'm just going to crack on and get those done. We'll take a look. Okay, so we've installed the same on this panel as well as on the other one, and now we've added it to here, and all we can do is it's 3 IP screws, one there, and one there. It holds this panel in place. Next thing we're going to turn this around, and we're going to secure the seats to the wall using DP screws. So as you can see here, it's a little blurry, trying to zoom in for you. Just here, we've put a single DP screw in there to hold this to the wall, and we're going to repeat that step with the next 4 of these seats. So just in here, and then those will be secured. Now we've touched the front section here. The front wall is now in. This secures here and here. Again, we're using IP screws to pop this into place with 6 IP screws, so 4 along there, 2 that hold onto the front wall. And the next thing we're going to do is, again, we're going to flip it over. We're going to put DPs to hold the seats to the walls, exactly as we did with the other panel. So there it is. That's in place, and that's how we're now looking. 79, as I said, is a mirror of this. We are just going to put in this wall on. So I'm just going to get on and do it. There is no difference. How we did this is exactly the same way as we're going to do this. So I'm going to get that done, and then we'll take a look. So as you can see, we've added the second side now. So this is all in, it's all contained. It is a bit of a nuisance attaching these to there when you've got this blocking you. But as long as you've got long screwdrivers, you're going to be fine. But yeah, it's looking nice there, right? Looking lovely. So happy with that. Now we're just going to move on to this was stage 78, 79 to finish the pack. This is how we're going to finish out pack 8. So we've got the front windows to do, and we've got some electrics. So let's get into it. Okay, it's nice and easy to start off. We've got the window to this front section now. Take note of these curved parts here. That is your indicator that it goes at the bottom. And we're just going to put this in with 4 AP screws. Now for full disclosure, even though when you watch this it's edited so it looks like I've done it in one sitting, I've actually been doing this for about 3 weeks because the heat wave hit and it was just unbearable in here. It was impossible to really build anything, so we've had a break in the weather, thankfully, so it's nice to be able to get this one done. And I do have pack number 9, so that will be up very shortly as well. Yeah, scratch this. Yeah, so there's a lot coming in pack 9. With regards to, we're putting the roof onto the lower deck, and then we will be adding the top deck to the bus. Now it won't be secured in place, but it will be built to the point where it can sit on there. It's quite nice because, I mean, again, anybody that's built one of these large scale models knows that when it's in bits, when you've got typically on, say, the smaller cars, you've got the chassis separate from the frame. You basically need space to store models double the model because you're storing one part away from the other, and that's how this has been with the top deck. I need a complete another space just to store that. So when it's all together, it's a great space saver. So there we go. So those are those in, and that's our window in place. Lovely. The next one is take this large metal frame and we take our windows. Now the metal edge goes at the top, so this should sit just in here like so. Then we can take our other piece, and that's going to do the same. So that's going to sit in there like that. There we go. Then we take frame here, and that's going to sit over there, and we're going to secure this in place with AP screws. So we get some of those loaded up and we'll get that done. Okay, so we've added the other two windows, and again, these just sit on top, they go with CM screws, and that is it. We're not actually going to do anything with that in stage 8, but these windows will now open and close. There is a little lip that stops them going any further. It's not a feature I'm going to be using, to be honest with you. Once they're closed, they're staying closed. Not the easiest thing to go up and down. But it's nice, they work. But again, mine will be closed. So that's it for the windows. We are moving on. We've got some little poles to attach to the front of the vehicle, into the top deck, and then we have some electrics to do. So those two fit on there just like that. This is all push to fit. We put the two handles on, and in they go. And that's it. They're just push to fit for now. They will be held on later on. Let's do these electrics. Okay, so I just have a whole mess of wires now. I really do. We've added extenders, so we've had to unplug and plug and all kinds of things. But basically, if we press the button, the indicator button inside the cab now, I'll move over to here, press the button, that should... He says, let's try that again. There we go. So there's our I bolted that pipe from the cab. That's not good, is it? It just needs a front push. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. So that is pack number 8 complete. Now, I can tell you, I started doing that about 3 weeks ago because the heat in here was just unbearable. I love building Routemaster. I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favourites of everything we build because I just think it's gorgeous. And it's just a nice build, and I like Agora, and you get this massive pack to do. But the heat in here was unbearable. We went through that heat wave and just it stopped being fun. You know, that was the problem. I'd sit down to do it and be like, oh, sweat's pouring off me, and it was like a sauna in here. So I wasn't loving it. But I love this. I mean, you can see everything that's done now. All our electrics working. That's a beautiful thing. Excuse me. It's great. There's nothing worse than your electrics not going. Or the electrics being disappointing, a la light bars on Ecto 1, for instance. I'm kind of overwhelmed the amount of lights that are in this thing. That makes sense. You've got two decks that both have to light up, and then all the panel on the side, but there is a lot of light, and that's kind of all I really want. The sounds, as great as they are, as I said, I've always found engine sound on models just a little hokey. I mean, it never sounds like an engine. It never sounds like it's coming from the engine. The speaker is very rarely mounted where the engine is. So you get this weird engine sound coming from underneath the vehicle, from the back of it or at the side of it. And it always sounds very recorded. It doesn't sound like an engine. So it's a thing that it does. The kids will get a kick out of it that it does that, and it's a nice thing to sort of show off. But I find the engine sound on this one particularly weird. Typically on engine sounds on most of the models that I've built, you turn the engine on and it's literally that. It's somebody starting the engine and you just hear it kind of idle, it do its thing, until it cuts out. This sounds like someone's recorded it driving past, or they were sat on it as it drove. So I wouldn't say this is engine sounds, more as in traffic sound. This is it driving, which is fine. But it's just a beautiful model, this, it really is. And I can understand why there are enthusiasts out there that have built 3, 4, 5, 6 of these and modify them, and I can completely see why, because this thing is a joy to build, it really is. We do have pack 9. Now in pack 9 we will be completing the lower deck, so we will be attaching the roof to the lower deck. We are completing the upper deck. We worked on the roof of the upper deck and install the lights up there, and then ultimately at the end of it we will be able to attach the top deck to the lower deck. It won't screw into place, we need more parts to do that, but we can sit them as they are and it will sit snug. So we will have a very good indication at that point of exactly how tall this model is going to be, because we can see it as it's supposed to be. There'll be a little more because of some paneling, but ultimately a very good indicator of exactly where we're going to be. And this is the strange thing with this one. So, I mean, we've got 9, 10, 11 and 12. There's 4 packs left to go on this one. It is as it's going to be pretty much in 9. And then the next 3 packs are going to be just adding paneling to it. So it looks very raw and very kind of, all the wires are exposed. And it's not going to look pretty until literally pack 12. It's going to look like this kind of stripped bus. And again, what's unique about this one is all the other models that I've built, you build a chassis and then you build a frame, and then the frame bolts to the chassis late in the assembly, whereas this is very different to that. We naturally built the rolling chassis underneath, but the frame is all building up as part of it. So we're building the frame to the chassis, which is quite unique in these models. Typically the worst stage of any model is attaching the frame to the chassis, like in Ecto 1, attaching that chassis to the frame was a bloody nightmare, because you got to make sure you don't trap the wires, and it was awful. It took 2 of us to do it. It was rough. And I've heard people say the same thing about the DeLorean. I never built the DeLorean, but the same thing, that attaching the 2 together was a nightmare. This, you ain't got to do that. There's no kind of flipping or anything to attach the top deck to the lower deck or attach the panel into it, and that's nice. Because, I mean, when it comes to flipping Ectos, you see people just accept it. They go, you know what, I only broke 3 lights, or I only knocked off 2 wing mirrors. Like, only. It shouldn't be that way. They should all be in this kind of design where you can just panel it all up, and I think that'll be a lot better. If you haven't yet, please give us a like, and if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you here. We've got a lot more coming up, and we are coming to the end of Routemaster now, because we have got 9. 9 will be up very shortly, because I'm just going to get it done now. So 9 will be up very shortly. If not this week, it will definitely be up in the first part of next week. And then we're in the final. We're home straight then. I mean, we just got 3 packs left, and we should be done with this one by about November. And it's going to look beautiful, it really is. And then we're left with, what do we do next from Agora? Now, I can tell you, Agora have got some beautiful models on there. They've got the New York fire truck, which I'm very tempted by. They've got the Leopard tank. They've got the Zero fighter. They've got the Terminator. They've got Lamborghini Miura. They've some beautiful, the Bismarck. They've got some beautiful models. They really have. They've also got a mystery cloak, where they've not revealed what's underneath it. I can tell you what's underneath it is Optimus Prime. I've heard a lot of, we don't know it's Optimus Prime. I do know it's Optimus Prime. I'm telling you, it's I'm not. It's not a guess. I'm telling you, underneath their cloak is Optimus Prime. So that will be coming from there will be an Optimus Prime build coming from Agora. I don't think it's for me. I need to see a lot more of it. I'm never say never, but because I do want to build another Agora model. Never say never, but I need to see more of it. Although I've only really seen the test parts that were done in France, and it looked nice. But I mean, he ain't my Optimus. That's the problem. The one they've got is the movie Optimus Prime, which is kind of the American big rig, whereas my Optimus Prime was the Gen 1 version, the original kind of Optimus Prime. I know it's splitting hairs, but I don't know. I need to see more of it. I mean, I don't know how big that thing is. I don't know I just don't. I don't know if we're talking Terminator size. I don't think we are, or if we're talking Iron Man size, which I think we are, or something in between. The one thing I will say, compared to the other figures that have been built at the moment, so there's the Iron Man and there's also the Robocop is run in France at the moment, and the Robocop looks very similar to the Iron Man in that there's not really much to do in each of those issues. You're building like a knee or a shin or part of the thigh, and it's a long time building the legs and a long time building the arms, and eventually, and it's all quite dull, if I'm honest. I'm building the Iron Man is quite dull, which has kind of put me off Robocop. I love the Robocop. I'd like to own one. I just don't particularly want to build it because I just think it's a bit boring. However, Optimus Prime, because the nature of him, the amount of stuff kind of on the legs and the arms, I mean, you've got wheels and parts of the exhaust and things like that, I think it'll be a lot more in depth. And I've got a feeling that model is going to look absolutely stunning. As far as where it doesn't transform, I don't think it actually transforms into the vehicle. I think it's just the robot. But it will look, I mean, the detail on it will look insane, and it won't be like your Iron Man where it's just like, yeah, there's a plastic part done. You're going to have to attach all the the widgets to him. And I think it could be really nice. But again, I need to see more. I can't just say, yes, I'm doing it without seeing more, because I don't know if I am. But I do want to do another Agora model. I just don't know which one. It's tough to pick, it really is. That's all for this one. We have got more coming up on the channel. Iron Man, funnily enough, Iron Man will be up very soon, as will R2-D2, as will Pack 9 of the Routemaster. So if you enjoyed this, you're about to see exactly where we're going next on this journey on this this gorgeous double-decker bus. Again, if you haven't liked, please do. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us massively, and we just love having you here in a world where you can be anything at all. Just be nice, and I will catch you on the next one.